Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 5th, 2022. Mayor Bontempo,
Present.
Mr. Santana,
Here.
Mr. Impreviduto,
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli. Here. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone, please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our troops both home and abroad who work tirelessly to protect us each and every day. Thank you. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to Holmdel Township Committee meeting, September 13, 2022. Before I roll into the agenda, I am going to have a proclamation that I'd like to read into the to the record. I've said many times before, we are in a unique town. We have fortunate to have a lot of people that volunteer, as we do up here. We're on a lot of boards and committees, and the four of us are involved in a lot of activities throughout the town. And over the years, come across people that I think stand out and always involved in aspects of town, always trying to do things to make the town a better place. And I think that's kind of what I believe is important, why I got involved years ago. But I wanted to do a special proclamation to a individual who has dedicated, as long as I've been around, been involved in many aspects of town. So proclamation of the Holmdel Township Committee. Whereas Mike Sockel has served for over a decade as a member of the Holmdel Township Board of Education, and whereas Mr. Sockel was entrusted by his colleagues to serve as vice president of the same board, and whereas during his time in office, the Board of Education lowered class sizes, added additional courses and sports teams, improved school safety, and expanded technology infrastructure. Whereas throughout his tenure on the Board of Education, Mr. Sockel collaborated with school administrators and teachers, providing advice, guidance, and offering solutions to challenges. Whereas outside of his work with the Board of Education, Mr. Sockel has been a passionate, energetic member of the Holmdel community, whose involvement in the civic conversations of the Holmdel Township has contributed to the Holmdel's vitality and strength. Whereas all the residents, parents, and students of Holmdel have benefited from Mr. Sockel's generous service to the township. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Holmdel Township Committee, I, Gregory Bontempo, Mayor of the Township of Holmdel, do hereby proclaim that sincere thanks be given to Mike Sockel for his years of service to this township. Be it further proclaimed by the Mayor and Township Committee that September 13th is hereby declared Mike Sockel Day. Mike, congratulations. So I also have a key to the city, so you're going to have to come up. Rocco, DJ, Prakash, please come up with me.
No, the wife doesn't like clutter, Greg. So.
It's okay. It's just a key. And it's an important key.
This works out well, and I'll get even
Congratulations, Mike.
So I asked the chief of police tonight to come and provide the township committee and the public with an update. So we joined with the chief and Captain Ackerson this evening to provide an update on what's going on in the town regarding car thefts. I could tell by the pulse of the emails I've been getting that it's on my mind, it's certainly on a lot of people's minds, so I thought it was appropriate. The chief and the captain, please, voluntarily wanted to come up and kind of chat with us and also provide us kind of state of the state and where they are and some of the things that they are doing without divulging too much information, because we are going to catch these guys, trust me. So, Chief, Captain, you guys are welcome to come up and sit down.
Good evening, Mayor, Township Committee, Administrator. I just wanted to bring everybody up to where we're at. As everyone knows, we've been battling this ongoing problem issue with these car burglaries, car thefts in our area, throughout the state, and throughout numerous states around. It seems as though it's a nightly battle for our officers. We started, going back earlier this year, we started reviewing our stats to come up with targeted areas to see what areas are more targeted and have had more attempts on car thefts. And with that, we were assigning additional officers to the targeted areas, using unmarked patrol vehicles to sit in those areas in an attempt to combat these guys coming into the area. We're also using our vehicles that we have, our ALPRs, and the ALPRs are the plate readers that we have. We have 2 cars that have plate readers on them, and we strategically try to put them in areas on entrance or exits to the town so that we can possibly pick up a stolen car before it gets into any of the residential areas. And they've worked well. We've gotten into numerous short pursuits, not long ones, but we try to at least, these guys in these stolen cars will take off and they don't care. They're driving at 100, 120 miles an hour. Most of the times, our guys will just get them out of the area, pursue them to the parkway, and once they're on the parkway, they're out of here. Additionally, we put our officers on some overtime shifts at nighttime to add more guys to our patrols, and we've taken day officers that are here in the day, and we've switched and changed some of their shifts so that they're working nights to have more cars on at nighttime. Nighttime and early morning. It seems like for some reason we get hit more in the early morning hours than the early evening hours. In addition, we've retrained our officers in the use of the stop sticks, which are the sticks that we'll throw out to blow out tires on cars. But there's really strict guidelines from the Attorney General's office on those. So we have retrained our officers, and we did use it once now in the chase that we had gotten into, or the pursuit we had gotten into, where the stolen vehicle struck our patrol car, and we were able to use it and blow out tires. But still, a lot of these high-end cars have run flat tires, so they're able to make it a considerable amount of miles once we've blown out the tires. As always, we're collaborating with our other law enforcement agencies in the area, and they notify us if they've had an attempt and give us the description of the cars. And a lot of times we're picking those same cars off a half hour later, an hour later, coming into town, and it winds up in a chase, or a pursuit, I should say. And we do the same. If we have a car that we've pursued and has left the area, we let all the other towns around know that, this car was just here. Try to keep everybody working together. Currently, we're working with the administration on purchasing additional plate readers. We have we have our 2 vehicle plate readers on cars, but we want to try to put these plate readers in stationary areas in town so that it'll be able to tip us off on a car coming through that is stolen, and we'll have an idea of where it's at, and we can kind of flood our guys to those areas. I have the captain here who's worked on putting that together and looking at the areas of where we could put them in town, and I just want him to go over a little bit with you on the stationary plate readers.
Good evening. For anyone not familiar with ALPR's, automated license plate readers, basically it's a system of cameras that read, cameras and software, proprietary software, that take pictures, images of license plates as they're traveling past the location or the vehicle that's mounted on. The system automatically and immediately takes that image, that plate, and it compares it against lists, BOLO lists, be on the lookout lists. Some people call them hot lists, but it's a list of stolen vehicles, other things as well, but primarily stolen vehicles. And it instantly gives an immediate alert if there is a stolen vehicle that's detected. So the officer or the dispatcher or whoever's monitoring the software knows immediately that that vehicle has been reported stolen and it's now in town. Data is also stored in the system and can be used for investigative purposes for other types of cases. The department, as the chief had said, has been using vehicle-mounted ALPR technology for the last 10 years, about. So we have that going for us, but the problem with those is they're constantly moving. So unless you're in the exact spot at the exact time, it makes it difficult to detect stolen vehicles, and also to kind of triangulate where that location is. So using fixed mounted ALPRs would give us a location where we know that has hit, and we know, again, it's in strategically placed locations throughout the town. So we've worked with our ALPR vendor on a proposal to expand our use of ALPR technology in the township by installing these fixed ALPR readers. And we would get the immediate alerts. Again, officers would be able to see those immediate alerts, dispatchers would see those immediate alerts, and officers could respond to that area to try to locate the vehicle. At least we'd have an idea of what location it was last in a time frame. So hopefully we would be able to locate that vehicle and take some kind of action against it.
Additionally, our detectives are currently working a number of cases where we've had individuals that have tried and have made attempts to get into houses with trying to identify them. They're close on a few. The issue is with that is the same type of issue that we encountered with the one pursuit we had where we arrested 2 of the actors, where our problem that we run into is that as soon as we arrest them, they're released because of bail reform. That doesn't help us. But we're hoping that we can at least identify a few of these actors and actually charge them. And that's where we're at. The other thing, we continually put out information constantly to our residents on what's happening, the pursuits that we're having on a nightly basis, and we also ask the residents, please, anything suspicious that they see, notify us right away so we can, get into the area and see, what we can find out.
Yeah, I agree. So first is Chief, the officer that was injured in the pursuit about a little week ago, is he okay?
He's okay. He's still out. He still has some issues with his arm and his wrist, but he is okay.
Okay. For those public that aren't aware, we had a pursuit in town where an officer was struck by a stolen vehicle in Holmdel. Officer was injured. That's what he was referring to when they threw the spikes down, was able to blow out the tires, but the car that they were driving was a high-end performance vehicle that had run flat tires, so they were able to hobble their way back to, can I say it? Newark, back to Newark. So, yeah, so our police are very involved. I appreciate you coming out here. I appreciate I think this is good because, I like the actions we're taking, that, in trying to protect our residents with extra manpower and using technology to our benefit to try to start pinpointing things so we can alert the guys on the road, guys and gals on the road right now, which is great. What's going on, so they're aware of, hey, someone's in town, we got a stolen car in town, and they can start pinpointing, and based on the multiple locations, we can kind of start figuring out kind of maybe where they're going or which direction they're moving. And so I appreciate you coming out. On the committee, got any questions for the guys, Chief?
No, I think, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, Chief, I mean, I think what I'm hearing is, increased concentration of staffing at the peak hours and where the issues really arise, improved communications, improved technology, which we're going to approve, and heightened diligence by the community. And those sort of four factors will hopefully start putting this thing to bed. But we appreciate all the work you do. I know all the residents do as well. We know you guys are doing everything you can. So thank you.
And I'd like to thank the brave officers out there at night every day chasing these guys out.
They were in your neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
They
they
were
were
in- yeah, they're-
on my street.
Well,
So,
thank you, and thanks for the support also.
appreciate it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, guys. So, next on the agenda are the approval of the minutes, July 12th, 2022, executive and public, July 28th, public, August 9th, executive and public. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Improviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes have been successfully approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Next is any public comment on agenda items on tonight's agenda, consent agenda. We have 2022-224 through 2022-244. Any public comment on any of the consent agenda items for tonight's agenda?
Comments, questions also?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Lance Loopy, Line Road. I have a lot of stuff here. To this conversation we just had about the ALPRS, is that the only purpose of it? It's $160,000. I mean, not that I'm against safety and securing the town and everything like that. And are these at a fixed location, or are they transported from place to place? Because I would assume after a while people are going to know, hey, on this road there's license plate readers, right? So I would think that they're going to be fixed. I mean, it seems like it's a pretty large amount of money to just have them sitting in one place. So I'm assuming maybe they're movable, but I would need to be. I couldn't find that information in the agenda, so I'm not sure. I see we're spending $70,000 on an electricity subcode official for full-time. Is full-time electrical subcode official necessary? I don't know. Do we have enough work to support 365 days a year? I don't know. So, again, correct me. I don't know. Tennis courts. It looks like we're spending $290,000 plus to replace tennis courts. Are people still playing tennis? $290,000. I don't know. Sure, seems like a lot. Share services agreement with Rumson. It says they're going to pay us a fee plus 5%, and I'm just hoping that that's enough to cover. I hope that someone's done some sort of cost-benefit analysis to understand that all of our equipment's going to be taking an increased workload. So is 5%, that extra amount, enough to cover those costs? I see we spent another $3,650 or so on the election in July. The costs keep rising. I'm not sure if any more will come. I see there's an equipment shed. It looks like there was a mistake in one of the prior ones. I think I'd asked a question about that at last meeting. So, and this is not to pick on anyone or point at any, I make mistakes all the time. So, in my prior life, we used to have what's called a 4-eye check. So I don't know if there's things like that that are done with some of these things. Because I noticed that there's no other details. And then on that, there's no other details listed as what are the other costs associated with that. So what other costs are associated with this pole barn or whatever it is that we're trying to put up, and are we sure we're right this time? And then, to that point about the 4-eye check, on page 92, there's reference to a Jaws of Life purchase from 2015 for Margate City. And I'm confused as that's tucked in with the license plate reader documents. So I'm not really sure what that is. And I'd also curious as to what does a public safety telecommunications trainee do? That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Couple of them. The fixed versus movable, it's both. It's fixed and it's movable. Electrical subcode official, yes, that department is self-funding, so it is needed. Does not come out of tax dollars. Tennis courts, that was approved in our budget at the beginning of the year for the tennis court work at the swimming pool club. Rumson Shared Services, I was told that it covers our costs plus an additional 5%. So, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, we do have a contractor that takes it away, so it's really not our equipment. They're just going to use our location to dump it. And a private contractor hauls it away.
Equipment shed, Bill, anything new on that?
No, I don't believe there is. The full scope is to put it over there at F&F Farm.
Okay, thank you. The Joys of Life with the APLRS, I'm not familiar with the,
That was Aaron. It's not a part of, you know, it could be disregarded.
That page does not belong in there.
okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Zach Gilstein, 11 Chardonnay Drive. Item 2022244, appointing township committee members to certain subcommittees. I looked at the information and all that came up was applying for municipal open space grant. So I'm wondering.
I noticed that error and I put the correct one in at the end of the day today.
Okay, so since I don't have that and what I'm looking at, can you explain what this resolution is about and who's getting appointed to what? Thank you.
Yeah, so these are vacancies that were created by Committeeman Weber's resignation. Board of Ed liaison, Rocco Improviduto, Parks and Recreation liaison, DJ Lucrelli, Traffic and Bike and Safety Committee, Greg Bontempo. Those are the three that are part of the 244. Any other thing from the public? No, you're done.
I asked a question that didn't get answered.
What didn't you answer?
What does a public safety telecommunications trainee do?
Dispatcher.
Dispatcher.
Dis-
I thought that was obvious, but maybe Anybody else in the public? Yes, sir. Obviously. Come on, you can come on up.
Mr. Bunsey, 10 Round Hill. They broke into my house. They went.
Could you just speak to me in the microphone. Okay.
I just wanted
Okay,
to
okay.
understand. Mr. Bunsey from Round Hill. Yeah.
On Round Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was my home they went into. And
What they broke into, correct, sir? Yes.
And they came back 2 weeks after. So in reference to your defense or the township defense with plate reader or whatever they're going to put up, it doesn't matter how much money we spend. Our safety is more important.
Sir,
I
no
understand.
talk for
I
the audience,
understand.
please.
I understand. But the fact of the matter, they came into my house. My wife was there. It was scary. She haven't slept for 3 days. I never been to a township meeting. I've been here 8 years. Never been.
No.
I mean, it's scary. But, I mean, money is not an option. With safety, if we're not here, what's the use we even live? So, just in everybody's defense, I mean, whatever we spend, we should spend to always safeguard ourselves.
I agree, and as you see, this committee has invested millions of dollars in fire, millions of dollars, or investing millions of dollars in first aid. Why? Because it's the safety of our residents that is the most important thing we do, in my book, right? It is the most important thing. So, do we have to spend money? Unfortunately, we do, right? Because that's to get the job done. I agree. So, to me, it's pennies, because if I could save somebody from getting injured, or maybe worse, I don't even want to say what the worst is, anything is worth it in my book.
Correct. I
Thank you.
respect that. Appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you. Yes.
Francine Campus, 2 Country Squire Lane.
Yes.
I just want to commend the township, all the officials, and the police department
Sorry.
for the work they're doing on this problem to keep us all safe. And I agree with the gentleman before me. There's no money that we should ever stop at spending because money doesn't count here. My concern is we can keep doing all these efforts, but if we don't buck this up to the state level, we're wasting our time. Bail reform is they're catching them, and he even said it. They're back on the street.
Correct.
This can't keep up. Maybe this is happening in all the towns here. Maybe the mayors, or whatever, and I'm not saying you're not doing a good job, and maybe, you all are. But unless we get this up to the state level and stop it in Newark, because somebody's allowing those cars on ships to leave here, somebody's allowing the boss to keep paying these guys to keep coming down here, and are we gonna stop when, I worry now, as I'm driving, that there's not gonna be somebody racing 100 miles an hour to get away from a cop and hit me.
Correct.
So we're not even talking about getting our cars stolen. Those are material things. But a young person or whatever. So I implore this committee to get in touch with other towns and get this up to the state level. And whatever you need from the residents here to support your efforts on the state level to tell the state legislators we're done with this nonsense, we will give it to you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your efforts.
Thank you. Anybody else on my consent agenda items? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Do I have a motion for consent agenda items 222, 224 through 222, 244?
Move. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Actually, Mayor, if I could just jump in really quickly, I have a request and a comment related to 243. And I apologize, with a jammed exec session, I didn't get a chance to ask this in private. So I appreciate the Heritage Committee making its way to the agenda this evening. The idea was conceived last year as I was campaigning in the wake of hate crimes against the Asian community, and it was furthered in conversation with one of our residents, Chung-Yin Cheng Lu. And it was really her idea, to really sort of blow this out and make sure we've got all the members of the diverse communities, or as many members of the diverse communities represented as possible, with a pipeline to us, right, to speak about the challenges that they're experiencing and so forth. It is with that reason and that intention that I would ask that if we approve this, we approve it with her as the leader of the committee, to give credit where it's due and allow her to select the members. And so I don't know protocol here, so I apologize if I'm sort of out of sequence on this, but that was just something I wanted to address.
Is that in the agenda? Is that on the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, it's resolution 2022.
No, I know. Is the name
243.
on the
No,
agenda?
no.
So what's the ask? I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
So right now, the name is blank in terms of who we would select to lead the committee, the Heritage Committee.
Uh-huh.
And my request is to insert Chung Yin's name in there as the leader of the committee.
But we don't have other candidates. There may
We
be others who'd be interested in this.
Conceivably, I was just giving
Yeah.
you my rationale for why to
Okay.
install her.
I mean, I'm not saying no to it. I'm just saying, can we get a list to see who's interested in this committee?
No, I'm sure we can.
And make a motion on that?
Sure. Can we then pass the motion this evening to stand the committee up, and then at a further meeting appoint a leader of the committee?
So you want to leave 243 on the agenda tonight or pull it?
I'd like to approve it.
Yeah, and
With the blank for the chairperson?
yeah, and have a separate resolution to appoint the chairperson.
Or all the members? How many members?
There would be 7 members total with 1 leader.
Yeah.
And again, the point is to ensure that the diverse communities within Holmdel are represented. And again, my point being, given the influence that she had in this, that Chung Yin be the person installed as the leader of that committee, my preference would be to pass it all in one this evening. If there's resistance to that, we certainly
No,
can
I
discuss.
mean, people don't know about this, right?
Right.
So it's probably better to announce it and make sure that people are if they're nobody interested, that's fine. But if they're interested, then make a motion and pass a resolution on whom you want to appoint.
So it's your perspective that we pass it, but without a leader
Correct.
this evening?
And then come back and do it again for the appointment.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
So leave it the way it is.
That's what it
Leave
sounds like to
on-
me.
Leave it on the way it is.
Sure.
So do we have a second on the consent?
Second.
Okay.
Third.
Do a roll call.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay, resolutions 2022-224 to 2022-244 have been successfully passed.
Next is introduction of ordinances, Wendy.
Introduction of ordinance 2022-25, which is an ordinance amending commercial business regulations to address collaborative working spaces. The motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for September 27th, 2022.
Have a motion?
Move?
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-25 will be published in the Asbury Park Press and set the public hearing for September 27th. The next ordinance is 2022-26, which is an ordinance addressing the use, operation, and maintenance of grease traps. The motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set public hearing for September 27th, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Move?
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Lucarelli? Mr. Impreviduto, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay, 2022-26 will be set for public hearing. The next ordinance is 2022-27, which is an ordinance addressing state law mandate regarding certificates of insurance and related administration fees pursuant to PL 2022 C.92. The motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set public hearing for September 27th, 2022.
Do I have a motion?
Move?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-27 will be set for public hearing.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Next is department updates, administrator and CFO. I know you have, do we have a public hearing?
Yes, we had a public hearing, the Monmouth County Open Space grant that we're applying for. This is going to be phase 2 of the bike path, which will go through, continue through F&F Farm and across through Bell Works into Bayonet Park. The estimated cost is going to be about $507,000. The grant we're requesting is $250,000.
So, any question, public comment on our applying for the open space grant? Seeing none, close public comment. Do we need a motion for that? Do we need a motion for the public space grant?
Motion.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
2022-245 has been successfully passed.
Thank you, Wendy. Bill, anything else?
A couple things. Regarding the plastic bag recycling, we again made some inquiries of a number of different places. Nobody's taken our bags. They recommended that you drop them off either at Target or a number of the other stores. The volume is just too much, and the stores cannot handle the volume that we had here in the past. Tax sale notice. Tax sale will be held on October 27th, 2022. If anybody is on a tax sale, please contact Jill Stone, a tax collector, extension 1411. New Jersey American Water had an increase effective September 1st, about 4.7%. If you do have an issue of paying that bill, you can look on their website under customer service and billing. There are a number of different resources out there if you cannot pay your bill. Also, we did some research on the ISO rating for the township. We're supposed to get reevaluated in 2022. However, due to COVID-19, they're a little bit behind. We're going to request that we get an accelerated rating done. Some of the issues we ran into is that a house that is within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant and less than 5 miles from the firehouse is rated as a 6. The other houses, if you have no fire hydrant and you're less than 5 miles, you're rated as a 9. If you're more than 5 miles away from a firehouse, you're rated as a 10. So and this is not, the overall rating is a 6/6X, which means most of the houses are 6. However, if you're not near a fire hydrant or more than 5 miles away, you're rated a 9 or a 10. So more likely the houses on the southern end of town are paying a lot more in their premiums for fire.
But not with the new firehouse. That changes.
Yeah, hopefully not with
Well,
the new-
hopefully that they have to come rate us, so we have to,
Yeah.
again, we have to apply.
Okay, good. Anything else?
That's it tonight.
CFO and administrator. Amazing. Thank you, Bill. Counselor, any updates?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and members of the committee. Three update items. First, the New Jersey natural gas litigation, which I know is of public interest. It's currently pending before the Board of Public Utilities. The board has requested an extension of time for them to render their decision, so it could be a matter of more months of waiting for them to issue their final determination, which is not unusual given the complexity of the case. So we'll have to be patient on that. Secondly, the township has received complaints from citizens about the installation of a diesel gas tank at the Exxon station located at the corner of Holmdel Road and 520. I'm limited in what I could say, but I will advise it's public record that the township has issued a summons for a zoning violation relating to that concern. And I will not be commenting any further due to the potential of litigation on that matter, but it is a matter of public record that a summons has been issued. And the third item is based upon our discussion in executive session. I believe it's the Township Committee's intention to schedule a special meeting on this Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning that will be held in person here in the courtroom. And if the committee's prerogative to make a motion to direct the clerk and myself to notice that meeting.
Do you have a motion?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
What time? You need to be recorded.
I just realized I
What
should say
time?
that. I think they have it at 9 a.m.
Can we come here at 8?
I can do it. We can do 8.
8 or 8:30?
I'm sorry? Yeah, I don't know what time they have it, I'll have to look.
So it'll be Friday morning. Time could be 8, 8:30, or 9 a.m. Court.
The subject will be listed on the executive on the meeting notice. I have to draft some agenda items, and we'll have that on there, and it'll be issued after this meeting.
You'll confirm, Wendy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, I'm trying
Okay.
to see now when they have it.
cool. Any other updates?
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben, updates? I think you have a presentation for us.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. So, as was previously mentioned, the township is applying for a Monmouth County Open Space Grant for the Phase 2 of the TABS Bike Committee bike route. So, the Monmouth County Open Space Grant, we received a grant for this, for Phase 1 of this project for $114,000. We are currently working on the design of those plans and permitting. So this is a matching grant. The maximum grant allotment is $250,000 per grant cycle. So we're applying for this project, which, as Bill mentioned, the cost estimate is $507,000, which would get us to the maximum request amount of $250,000. I think we probably have seen this before. I've had a couple presentations about the bike route, but this is a little more narrowed down. So Phase 1 at the top is shown in red there. That is the F&F farm, which ends at Roberts Road. So Phase 2 would pick up on Wilson Boulevard. We would just install some striping along the existing road there. And the ring road for Bell Works is already striped with a bike lane. So that's a natural bike route to be able to utilize, which is good for us. The yellow portion is where the new construction would take place. So from the back of Bell Works over where the new driving range is, the bike route would pick up an existing trail that already exists and go through the woods there and into Bayonet Farm all the way down to Middletown Road. The existing trail, as you can see here, is already cut. It's a wood chip trail. We would convert that to a stone dust, something that's more conducive to bicycling. And we would install some wayfinding signage. There is an existing bridge and stairs. We would look to replace that with more of a gradual ramp bridge so that you can ride your bike down it instead of having to get off and walk it down the stairs. And that is the majority of the project. The grant application requires that we have a public notice, which we've already done, and a public hearing, which is what we're doing now. So if there are any questions by the committee or the public, I would welcome them to provide any input, any questions or comments or requests that we can incorporate into our application.
Any questions from the committee for Ben? So since going forward, I have the tabs now with the resolution. I'll probably pull you into a meeting in the near future with the committee just so we can update them and explain why we're changing the path directions with the feasibility of safety and obviously the working with the ownership at Bell Works as well to make this project a reality that's feasible and workable for everybody. So thank you, Ben.
Okay.
Thank you. Cool. We'll roll right to boards and committees. Committeeman and Prevost, any updates from your committees?
Yes, so from community development, we've established new collaborative workspace regulations. The department has completed our proposed ordinance for the new collaborative workspace regulations within the township, essentially updating these ordinances for the more current sort of post-COVID world and the way in which people are operating. There's a new webpage for new businesses, provides information and links helpful to new businesses in getting them registered with the township. The department has developed a fire prevention program to actively register new businesses. And there are citations, updates, updated summons citations with the Holmdel Municipal Court to ensure consistency of ordinance with state regulations, many of which are outdated and would prohibit a summons from being issued under a particular ordinance. And there's updated fire prevention and other ordinances for consistency with our SDL software and new business models. So continued improvements and efficiencies and updates within that department.
Good, thank you. Committeeman Lucarelli.
Thank you, Mayor. For nothing really in particular for Public Works, but in the recycling department, we have a large item drop-off scheduled for Saturday, September 24th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This location has moved from its normal location to the yellow parking lot, so residents should enter Bell Works through the Wilson Boulevard entrance. There's also medical supplies donations that are needed. Holmdel Township will be partnering with the 9/11 Fund to collect donations of medical supplies that will be provided to underdeveloped countries. The 9/11 Fund was created in the aftermath of September 11th by several former members of the FDNY. Holmdel residents can drop off medical supplies donations at the large item drop-off on September 24th. Some of the examples of donations that are needed are walkers, wheelchairs, crutches, hospital beds, personal protective equipment, hand sanitizer, and bleach. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Couple of updates. The first one is for the police department on school safety. There were no major issues with school openings last week, no traffic issues. All our SLEO 3 officers, SLEO 3 officers have returned. HTPD currently has 7 SLEO 3 officers, and as of today, this evening, we're adding 1, so that'll make it 8 to help our 4 public schools. We need volunteers. The police department is currently looking for domestic violence advocate volunteers. So anyone interested should contact Captain Michael Piggott. Fire department updates. 2 residents have joined the fire department this past month. Both will be scheduled to attend the fire academy in the near future. We continue to look for volunteers, specifically junior volunteers, so we'll be making arrangements to visit Holmdel High School and set up a table during the lunch periods. Fire Prevention Week is October 9th through October 15th. The theme for this year is to reinforce the critical importance of developing a home escape plan with all members of the household and practicing it on a regular basis. At least we should all have fire extinguishers in our homes, the least we can do. The fire department plans to host an open house at the new station on Crawford's Corner Road during that week. Stay tuned for details. There's a delay in the new ladder truck. The fire department was informed that the new ladder truck, which was supposed to be delivered by the end of the year, has been delayed. The manufacturer now says the expected delivery date is the beginning of March. So we'll let you know when we hear more from the manufacturer. Thank you. That's all we have.
Thank you. A couple updates. So our second Veterans Roundtable will be coming up. Our first Veterans Roundtable was held on July 16th when we had the road dedication to General Tillelli. Second iteration, the Veterans Roundtable, will be held on Friday, October 7th at 9 a.m. It'll be held in collaboration with the Adjunct General's Office from the New Jersey National Guard. This roundtable event will be hosted at the New Jersey Vietnam Veterans Memorial and Vietnam Era Museum. A light breakfast will be served, followed by the roundtable, after which attendees will receive a tour of the memorial and the exhibits over there. Holmdel veterans who are interested in participating should contact Barbara Kobaleski in our administration department, and she will include you on all future mailings and invitations. Veteran of the Year nominations. So part of the Veterans Initiative we enacted a few years ago includes recognizing an annual Veteran of the Year. This award goes to a Holmdel veteran who has remained committed to their fellow veterans as well as the Holmdel community. Nominations are now open. If you'd like to nominate someone for Veteran of the Year, please contact Barbara in the Administration Department. The Veteran of the Year recognition will be presented at the annual Veterans Day ceremony in November. Bayonet Farm Trail Run. For the 2022 Bayonet Farm Trail Run will be held on Sunday, October 30th, right over here at Bayonet Farm Park. The morning consists of two different races. The kids' race will begin at 8:15 a.m. and is a 1-mile trail race through the park. Runners will receive medals, and the top 3 finishers will earn an extra award. Registration for the kids' race is free. The main race will begin at 9 a.m. It is a 4-mile trail race through the woods and the fields. Registration is $40 per person prior to October 1st and $50 per person after October 1st. And information that is on our website with our Recreation Department. There is going to be a rabies vaccination clinic for Holmdel pets. Holmdel will be hosting a free rabies clinic on Saturday, October 29th. Residents can bring their pets to the Holmdel Senior Center between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. to get them vaccinated. And I'd just like to reiterate the honor was for the Township Committee to present the proclamation tonight to Mike Sokol. You know, in addition to the serving on the Board of Ed, he's been a coach in youth sports here in Holmdel for many years, and it was a pleasure to be able to have him come out this evening and give him that award. What is my topic for the day? I will now move to any public comment. Public comment, you come up to the mic. Wendy, you have a public comment statement that you would like to read?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a public comment period for public comment on any governmental issue of public concern. In accordance with Resolution 2022-17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full name and address before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment, not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting.
Thank you. Anybody, public comment, please, sir in the back, come on.
Good evening, guys. Brian Foster, 4 Iron Hill Drive. Thank you guys for being up there and all you do for town. It's very nice to see the chief and the captain here this evening. Without a doubt, the public safety is probably the #1 issue in town. And I think Francine's idea was great to send some people down to the state level and see if we can get an answer. Seems they're more concerned with sending out some school curriculum that are a little more controversial than keeping their residents safe, which is, in my opinion, a big shame. And lastly, one other comment. I know you said only one, Wendy, but one other comment. I served on the Board of Ed with Mr. Sokol, and he is indeed an asset and a resource for the community. He gives his time freely. He answers any questions that anybody ever had, and he's a gentleman and a heck of a nice guy. So that was a very nice proclamation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Yes.
Chongin Liu.
You could hold it.
37 Oaks-
You could take the mic off and hold it if it's easier. Yeah.
Okay, that's easier. Chongin Liu, 37 Oaks Drive. Thank you for establishing the Heritage Committee to acknowledge the very unique diversity of Holmdel. And Mr. Impromptudo, thank you so much for your recommendation. I was thrilled to hear that. If I got appointed, I will try my very, very best, just like I did with board education for 3 terms, and to serve this community, to serve the Holmdel residents. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Yes.
Jay Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. Just following up on the ISO comments, I thought you guys suggested that even though we have the new firehouse, because we don't have a joint service agreement, that South Holmdel might still have issues. So is that still the case?
Go with the
Okay,
Lloyd
sorry.
Burns, yeah.
That's number one, because again, my rates have gone up crazy.
Yeah.
Middletown Road, I brought up some very dangerous branches. Unfortunately, is it 3 or 4 weeks later, they're still hanging. So Bill, I don't know if you talked to the freeholders about this or whatever they're called now. Did you contact them? Because it's very dangerous. Someone's going to get hurt, and I hope it's not me. New Jersey Natural Gas, Mr. Collins. So is it settled? It's before the BPU for their judgment now? This is the final thing? That's number 3. Number 4, the Exxon. It's very ominous, the developments this past weekend. It wasn't just me that thought they were ominous. I've heard from a lot of people. All of a sudden, Village Exxon thought they could just put up a banner with an 18-wheeler on it and say we're selling diesel, when that's been litigated, if you will, before. Also, a pretty ugly exercise station thingamajig at Cross Farm Park appeared on the consent agenda after it was basically shot down before, because it's really out of place there and would be hideous. None of us are against exercise at Cross Farm Park. That thing doesn't belong there. And speaking of Cross Farm Park, as many of you know, I had heart surgery recently, and it was a big deal. And when I could get on my bike again, one of the first things I wanted to do was go to Cross Farm Park. And I went there at dusk a few nights, and I really, for the first time, appreciated the majesty of that place. And I know that may sound excessive, but coming out of the hospital and being able to go there really meant a lot to me. So the idea that this blue or green or monstrosity exercise Lego place could be put there is pretty sad. In the past, someone put up a giant papier-mâché soccer ball entrance thing. That's pretty sad. I know in the past people wanted to put light towers and a stadium there with their name on the side of the stadium. That's pretty bad. Cross Farm Park is a gift to this town. It's beautiful. We need to keep it that way. There's enough sports fields and things there. If we want to have exercise stations, they should be natural looking. We don't need blue, green, yellow, big monstrosities. We don't need light towers. If we need more sports infrastructure, there are other places. And if you're not happy with the sports infrastructure, there are other towns. You could come from the town I came from, which does not have a Cross Farm Park, but plenty of gaudy infrastructure. And the final thing I want to say is, Mr. Santana, I'm hearing that you may not be with us that much longer. You've been a gift to this town. You've been one of the most impressive, pensive thinkers, and it will be a huge loss. We will miss you greatly.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill, you want to touch on the ISO rating and then Middletown Road?
Yeah, the ISO rating, I did have a long conversation today, and they're indicating that the biggest deficit we have is the lack of fire hydrants, more than anything else. Lack of fire hydrants being within 1,000 feet of your house is what really matters the most. Again, we're going to request the rating. We're going to ask them to expedite it so we can talk to them some more when they come in to do our rating. Middletown Road, I talked to Victor about that. If you know exactly where they are, Victor said he didn't see any issue. He looked at it. If you could let me know where they are, we can look at it further. If you can tell me the exact location, I'll take a look at it.
Tell Victor to stop by my house. By the way, I have a fire hydrant on my front lawn, so that's good.
All right.
You want to touch on New Jersey Natural Gas? Just real briefly.
Sure. Yes, to answer your question, all the parties, the township, New Jersey Natural Gas, Rate Council, all filed the appropriate papers before the BPU. So yes, it's basically in the BPU's hands. They'll schedule a meeting at some point. They usually meet monthly or on some occasions such as that. And once they have a decision finalized, presumably they'll approve that decision.
Yeah, and as the attorney said, we've already taken action on the Exxon station and their the actions they took, which are not permitted. So more to come at future meetings. Anybody else from the public? Yes.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Just to follow up on the previous comment with regard to the fire hydrants. I mean, we happen to have one across the street from us, so it's not a problem for us. But your implication is that there are parts of town, I don't know how many parts of town there are, where there is a shortage of fire hydrants, at least from the 1,000 foot. So to what extent is this an issue, and what can the township do about it? Because that means a safety issue for everyone.
Keep going. Answer your question.
That's it.
You have a seat. Bill, do we get any feedback from the ISO regarding that yet?
The only comment they were talking about was to install fire hydrants. That was their comment to me. Now, whether that doesn't seem feasible, but again, we'll have to talk to them when they come in and ask them if a tank.
How many are needed?
I don't think we have that assessment yet. I think once we get their assessment from ISO, Township Committee can evaluate what the options are if there are any hydrants that are needed, and we'll take it from there. It's kind of one step at a time, and I applaud the administrator for doing what he did to kind of get this ball moving, which has been going on for a while. But our view has always been that the new firehouse would have a significant impact on a lot of residents because it covers, 5 miles is pretty far from where it's located, and centrally located is beneficial. Plus, we have the other fire station still operational up on Centerville.
Mayor, if I'm,
Good.
I just received word from the clerk that there is no conflict with the court on this Friday, so the committee could schedule the special meeting for whatever time it prefers on Friday morning. Is that correct, Wendy?
Is
Okay.
9 still okay, guys?
Nine
Is that
till.
okay? 9 o'clock? Okay.
9 works the best.
Not for me, but whatever.
Are you okay with that?
It's fine. I'm fine.
I'll bring coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee. Anybody else in public? Yes.
Francine Campus, 2 Country Squire Lane. I'd like to start out by, first of all, complimenting our zoning or construction department. When I went up to complain about Village Exxon, they were already on it. So my compliments, and the flags are down. Those flags saying they're going to sell diesel fuel. So my compliments. The only thing that concerns me here is that approval was given in 2016, 2018. The guy tried to sell diesel when he wasn't supposed to. He was told to stop. He stopped. And now again, he's doing it again. Somehow I feel, and I don't want to tell you your job or the town's job, this man needs to get a hefty fine or implications to make him stop doing it. And while you're at it, I know you can't litigate against a picture of what he said that building should have looked like, but take a look at the resolution. He said there should, and I'm going to just be petty here, it's supposed to be colonial windows with panels. Those windows up there are not. So as long as you're going after him, please go after him full steam ahead. Teach him a lesson. This is a town not to fool around with.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take note of that and deliver that message to our zoning officer, correct, Bill? That zoning officer will be busy. Anybody else from the public? Yes, sir, in the back.
Joseph Tetro, 280 Middle Road. Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
committee.
sir.
You know I am here again.
I know why you're here.
Any report been finished on the flooding on 280 Middle Road? I haven't heard any more. I mean, I was told that you might have something done by the end of July, but I did send an email out a couple of weeks ago and haven't heard anything.
Any other questions? Just give us roll through if you have any other questions.
I'm concerned with that problem.
Bill, I know you reached out to our engineering firm who's doing that work. Have we gotten any feedback?
No, we haven't gotten, and nothing received yet.
So the township has not, through the, please no talking from the audience, please. The township has not, but the minister will follow up with our head of community development, and if we have anything, we can post it, right, Bill, on our website with any updates from the thing. So we will email you if we get anything. I have your email. I'll make sure Bill has it. If we have anything, if community development has it and hasn't shared it with the township committee, Bill will get it from them and share it with the township committee so we have it as well. All right, so we'll find out. But I have not seen anything as of today. Thank you. Anybody else in public? Yes.
Janet Nisi, 7 Country Squire Lane. I have a few things. The first thing was about the bike path. It seems to end on Middletown Road. Does that mean that all these bikes are going to start coming out on Middletown Road? Because it's scary enough as it is with any more bikes. Or are they going to park at Bayonet Farm? They're going to drive to Bayonet Farm and then get their bikes and go. Because that might be dangerous. What are they going to do when they get to the end of Middletown? They get out on Middletown Road. Are they going to be driving on that very narrow 2-lane street? That's the first question.
Okay.
Can I keep going?
Yeah, absolutely,
okay. BPU, if they render their decision and it's against the town of Holmdel, do we have any options to appeal at that point, or is that really the final say?
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going, yep.
Oh, and the third thing is, I live very near that Exxon station, and I'm glad that you guys are taking a very proactive approach, because that is a very congested intersection. Sometimes it's very hard to get out of our development. So anything that you can do to help us would be great, because having trucks on top of everything else would just be horrendous. I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you. So Ben, you want to touch on the bike path, Ben?
Yes. So the end of the phase 2 at Middletown Road is not the end of the project. The ultimate goal is to have the bike path go all the way to Cross Farm Park. So in the next phase after phase 2, we'll be continuing further south until we get to Cross Farm Park. In the interim, Bayonet Farm is a good destination for the end of the bike path at this point. So that's the plan for this phase.
Well, and then when you get to Cross Farms, and you're right onto Thompson, so then you have that Thompson paved walking path, bike path, all the way into like Brookdale Community College, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Once you get to Cross Farm Park, there's a good path network through Cross Farm and as you said, Thompson, and that's all run by Monmouth County, and that's why we're going for county grants for this, because it ties right into what they want to do as well.
Yeah, and it kind of falls into what they're trying to incorporate in the county, which is bicycle, public health, safety, exercise, etc. Correct, Ben?
Correct.
Yep.
As well as our own TAPS committee.
You got it. You got it.
Could I ask a quick
And-
question?
Let them cover the BPU real quick.
Sure. So on the BPU, after the BPU issues a final decision, the party that doesn't succeed does have the ability to appeal to the Superior Court's Appellate Division. However, an appeal of a final agency determination is subject to a very deferential, arbitrary, or capricious standard of review, so it is a difficult appeal to take for whichever party does not prevail. And from the Appellate Division, your next and last stop is the State Supreme Court.
I have a quick question on the bike trail. So when you get to Bayonet Farm and you want to run along Middletown Road in Phase 2, would you consider running the trail right by Reminiscent Trail, the existing Reminiscent Trail, so they don't even get onto the road, because the road's narrow?
Yeah, there are connections to Reminiscent Trail. I don't know if we're going to have a direct connection along Middletown Road. That's something we can certainly look into when we get to the design phase.
Thanks, Ben. Anybody else in the public? Yes.
Lance Loopy, Line Road. Just give you guys some pictures real quick on one of the things I wanted to, not enough for everybody, but something I wanted to bring up. So that first picture in the top left corner is the intersection of Bethany and Line Road. And as you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a no turn on red sign. As you'll also notice, the car that's at the traffic light is ahead of that sign.
You keep going. Go
Okay.
ahead.
And every day when I leave the house at around 8 o'clock, when students are traveling, some walking to St. John Vianney, I see many cars making that right on red, right, putting at risk pedestrians. So I don't know if this is, I think that might be a county road, Bethany Road and Church, right? And if it is, I don't know if that's the county purview or what, but, you know, maybe a sign on hanging on the stoplight across or somewhere else, right? Like I show in the next picture to the right of that. And then maybe even also an option of, you know, maybe like like they have in Aberdeen at Church and at Atlantic, where it's timed Monday to Friday. You can't turn right on red, you know, between 6 and 6 or whatever, or something like that. So proposal again, I don't know if that's the township's purview, but I wanted to make sure I brought that up. Also I forgot, I didn't hear, maybe I missed it, or maybe it was done on the actual day, 9/11's remembrance, so to all those that were lost that day. I was surprised to hear the deputy mayor comment that there were no traffic issues at school this week. I'm not sure if you travel there this week, but I do. And traveling south on Crawford's Corner Road from here towards the school and attempting to turn left into the school is an absolute nightmare. While there's a left turn lane there, I would think that there would be some long-term solution, such as a left turn arrow, right, that allows people, because there's tons of cars coming the opposite direction, making a right. And while there are many that are courteous and will let you in, you know, it'd still be great to have an opportunity, because the buses enter that way, as well as parents dropping off students. And due to multiple bus issues that I had this week, with our bus not showing up on time, I had to drop my daughter off, and it was a pretty challenging ordeal to get her there. So short term, maybe there could be a police officer stationed at that light to direct traffic in the morning. I don't know. The bike path sounds great. We kind of skipped over the public comments, I think. Is this open 24 hours? If so, is there lighting? What about user safety, or is there any liability to Holmdel if it is 24 hours for people that are on the path? Or there was a comment about the road being narrow, and, you know, what if a pedestrian was hurt traveling that? So just a, you know, curious question. Okay, I guess I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. So on the on that intersection, that's county controlled. We've had traffic backups on Holmdel Road coming into that when they first redid that intersection, and they would not adjust. So we could chat with our chat with them again. They'll do an analysis, but they were not willing to. The high school intersection has been an issue for, I don't want to date myself, but a long time, since I was driving my kids to school every time they missed a bus. And it's challenging. It's probably a more on the Board of Ed to decide how they want to handle that, because it's going to have to, you know, eat into their property to adjust the lanes over there, et cetera. So you may want to assess it with them. And we have our new Board of Ed liaison on the Township Committee tonight. So he will be your point person on the township committee to do any coordination with the Board of Ed, and then he can bring it back to the township committee for, for future discussion, in exec or in public, how it deems fit. And there was one other one which was on the bike path. Ben, you want to touch on the bike path?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the timing of when the bike path will be open, it most likely would be when all township parks are open. I think it's dusk till dawn, and I know that's the same for county parks as well.
Okay.
Just, Ben, a quick question on the bike trails, and not to be dramatic, but given the situation we've encountered with car thefts, are these trails going to be distanced enough from neighborhoods and homes so as not to provide an additional pathway for the bad guys to get in? I mean, I do worry about sort of policing this, if you will, or providing another, again, avenue for, for folks to do nefarious things.
I don't know exactly how far a trail needs to be from a a residential home or neighborhood, but I can tell you that all the trails would be on township property or right of way or easements. So it's all and a right of way, a roadway goes right through neighborhoods. So bikeways and trails like that would just naturally fall in that area.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name's Elise Donovan. I live at 712 Holmdel Road. I was actually driving by on my way home from somewhere, saw the cars and said, oh, I have a question. I'm going to pop in, and if it's the end of the agenda, I'll ask it. Do you know what is happening with the Crawford Hill lab, and in particular, the horn antenna? We were up there recently. We happened to be bringing some friends from out of town to see it, and Dr. Wilson himself and herself happened to be up there, and we noticed that it had been vandalized up there. And then it was mentioned that perhaps the property may be being sold, and we, as longtime residents of Holmdel, are very concerned about making sure that that monument is preserved, and that, as Mayor Bontempo said back when the property was most recently sold, Holmdel residents should be able to access that. It's huge. I mean, it's the origin of the universe detected right there on this very high point, the highest point in all of Monmouth County. And the thought that the antenna might be moved from the spot where it happened is really tragic to us. So we see that the property's not being kept up, which is distressing as we drive by, but we just would like to make sure that that property is preserved somehow, and that historic place, that all residents can take pride in that and can have access to the site. So I don't know if anything's happening yet. But
Thank you. Talk about, all right, public. Go ahead.
I would just note in response to that I believe the Township Committee and many past meetings has expressed a desire to try and preserve the horn antenna. I don't have specific notice about ownership or any potential assignment of the property, but I think it's duly noted on the committee's part that if and when an owner of the property is looking to develop it, whether it be through the boards or through the redevelopment process, that the committee would like to see something appropriate done with that landmark, and the committee can certainly exercise its powers as any development opportunities present themselves to try and address that. But given the fact that those types of conversations would be probably part of a real property conveyance, I think the committee should be circumspect in what we say publicly, because it might be a future negotiation.
Yes, but thank you for bringing it up. It's certainly something that's on my mind, and the other committee members, so thank you. Anybody else in the public? Going once, going twice. I will close public comment. Do I have
Motion
a
to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Well, we will be back here in 72 hours, less than 72 hours. Good night, everybody. Thank you.